From the moment it opened in 1995, the Denver International Airport has been surrounded by rumors and suspicion. At first glance, it might just seem like another massive travel hub, designed to handle millions of passengers moving across the United States. But beneath its runways and terminals, many people believe that the airport hides something darker. Murals of apocalyptic imagery, gargoyle statues, runways shaped eerily like a swastika, and a giant blue horse with glowing red eyes. All of these details have convinced countless people that Denver International Airport is not what it appears to be. But why does this place, of all airports, seem so much more f***ed up? Why has it become a breeding ground for theories about secret bunkers, New World Order headquarters, or even extraterrestrial activity? Today, lady and man, we are taking a deep dive into the weird conspiracies of the Denver International Airport, exploring the bizarre history and the weird evidence that might actually prove that there's something more going on. Buckle up, because this story might be a little bit weirder than you'd expect. When Denver International Airport, often shortened to DIA, opened its doors in February of 1995, it was already kinda weird. The project came in at a wild cost of nearly $5 billion, which was almost $2 billion over the initial budget, which is pretty odd. But even stranger, construction was actually delayed for years, which made people question why this one airport in a relatively small US city required so much money and secrecy. Denver already had Stapleton Airport, which, while older, was still fully operational. And when you pair that with the massive underground tunnel systems and quite bizarre infrastructure built beneath the runways, it didn't take long for conspiracy theorists to start asking, was this really just an airport, or was this something else? One of the most common theories is that DIA was secretly constructed as a massive underground bunker, either for the US government or the global elite. According to this theory, the enormous underground tunnels are actually entrances to a hidden doomsday shelter. In the event of a nuclear war, which seems extra likely at the moment, powerful political figures and billionaires would make their way to Denver and live in a secret little city underground. I couldn't think of anything worse than sharing an underground bunker with global elites. I think I'd just rather face the nukes.
Everything's gonna be okay, Mingo. It's gonna be okay. I'm sorry. I'll see you on the other side, alright?
And while this may sound like absolute bullshit, it's not without truth. The US has built underground bunkers before, like the Cheyenne Mountain Complex in Colorado Springs, which is actually only an hour away from Denver. That facility was constructed during the Cold War to withstand a nuclear strike and actually still exists and is in use today. But it isn't just the underground tunnels that have drawn attention. Walking through the airport itself is kind of weird. I mean, look at the art on the walls. The most infamous are the murals by artist Leo Tanguma. Two massive pieces in particular, titled Children of the World Dream of Peace and In Peace and Harmony with Nature, depict scenes that many interpret as apocalyptic. Apparently, the murals are meant to represent the destruction of war and environmental catastrophe, followed by peace and unity. I am not sure how, but if you say so. Conspiracy theorists see something much darker. They believe it's a coded warning of global depopulation and the rise of a new world order. And speaking of the new world order, DIA has become one of the most frequently cited locations tied to that conspiracy. The idea of the New World Order has been a cornerstone of conspiracy lore for decades. In a nutshell, it's the idea of one group ruling the entire world, but that would probably never happen. Right? The airport's strange design choices have been interpreted as evidence of its connection. For example, the runways, when viewed from above, appear to form the shape of this. Airport officials have always dismissed this as coincidence, explaining that the layout simply maximizes efficiency by allowing planes to take off in multiple directions. And then there's the mysterious dedication stone inside the terminal, which gives a reference to New World Airport Commission, which doesn't sound that weird on its own until you realize that this group, supposedly responsible for the airport's dedication, doesn't actually exist. And the strange symbolism doesn't stop there. Throughout the airport, gargoyle statues sit above baggage claim areas. I don't think there's much symbolism in them, they're just low-key kind of creepy. But of course, we can't talk about the Denver airport without mentioning its most infamous resident, Blucifer. Officially titled Blue Mustang, this 32-foot tall statue stands outside the airport's entrance. With glowing red eyes, the sculpture has become a symbol of the airport's weird reputation, and its backstory only adds to its legend. During construction, a piece of the massive sculpture fell and killed its creator, artist Luis Jimenez, which is why it's now associated with death. Okay, so combine all of this, the murals, the gargoyles, the strange plaques, the swastika-shaped runways, the underground tunnels, and the terrifying horse statue, and it's pretty easy to see why there's so much speculation about what's really happening at Denver International. But perhaps the most bizarre thing about this story is that the airport itself has actually leaned into the conspiracies. Instead of denying them outright, DIA has used the rumors as part of its branding. In 2018, when parts of the airport were under renovation, construction walls featured posters that read things like, "Are we creating the world's greatest airport? Or preparing for the end of the world?" Okay, all right, guys, shh. Here's the question. Is there any real evidence behind these theories? Is there any proof that the government is creating a massive doomsday bunker, or is the Denver airport just an airport? It's pretty obvious that pop culture has only amplified the conspiracies. Shows like Ancient Aliens and weird YouTubers that talk into a spoon have easily taken a few sheds of proof and turned it into hours of content. For all the talk of Illuminati bunkers and alien bases, the truth is, if there was something suspicious happening in the airport, it would most likely be something far more practical. Something like military preparedness. It wouldn't be far-fetched to think DIA, with its massive underground tunnel system, could double as a military facility. But here's where we need to pause. Because as enticing as these theories are, most of them sort of unfold the more we look into them. The underground tunnels do actually exist, but they were intended for a high-tech automated baggage system that ended up being shit, so they abandoned it. Denver Airport doesn't at all try and hide this. Reporters and journalists have actually toured the tunnels and described them as nothing more than dusty and outdated. Not exactly the center of the New World Order. The swastika-shaped runways simply use this layout to allow planes to take off and land in pretty much any weather condition. The murals, they're weird. I don't really have an explanation for those. Same as the horse. I understand the horse is meant to be cool, but they just made it creepy as fuck. Look, the fact is, and you might hate hearing it, YouTubers like myself aren't going to have any new insider information. The most I can do is give you the facts, offer my personal opinion, and leave it up to you to come up with your own theories as to what's going on. For all we know, the conspiracies about the airport, they might be true. It really wouldn't surprise me that the world elites would plan for a civilization-ending event, and it makes sense to do it in a large airport to limit time and movement to get them into safety. But at the same time, you wouldn't really draw attention to it with weird murals and gargoyles. So, like, share, comment, subscribe.